Assalamu alaikum and welcome to ReUSEful. If you've ever felt pressured by all the perfect homes you see online, you're not alone. We are here to help you navigate through these expectations and to discover that a home is built with patience, gratitude, and creativity. With me is Nusrat, a seasoned DIYer, who will be guiding me and you through today's project. Assalamu alaikum, Nusrat.
Walaikum salam, Aida.
So tell us, what are we doing today?
So today we're going to be making something really beautiful but simple.
Okay.
We're making resin art coasters and also bookmarks.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah, so resin is it seems intimidating and it's a little bit fancy. It seems like it might be difficult to use, but once you get the hang of it, it's really easy and fun to use.
Okay, I'm excited to learn. So what sort of tools do we need or supplies to get started?
The tools we'll be needing are some resin. So it comes usually in two parts, which we're going to mix together. A measuring scale, some cups to mix, stirring sticks, different colored powders, and any additives that you want to add in, such as glitter or dried flowers, and some protective equipment like gloves and some resin molds that we'll be using. These are just silicone molds, but you can also use baking molds that are silicone, so they're pretty easily available.
Oh, cool. So these are all molds?
Yes.
Okay, awesome. So what is the first step?
Okay, so before we get started, let's prep our surface. Resin is really difficult to get out of clothes. It's super sticky.
Okay.
So we want to make sure that our surface is prepped, and then we'll also put on some gloves. So let me just...
Seeing all this glitter is making me really excited about this project.
Yeah, that's the fun part, when you can mix different colors and add different things to it. So resin usually comes in two parts. There's a part A and part B, and it's usually labeled on the bottles. And you mix them 1-to-1 ratio. So we're going to be using a scale. This is the most important part when you're using resin. You want to make sure that the ratio is exactly 1-to-1. Otherwise, it won't cure properly and it won't harden. So it'll just be flexible. And each resin is different. So some resins are 1-to-1 ratio, some are a little bit different. So based on what you're making and what resin you use. Okay, that one to 57. So let's do let's try 90 ml. Actually, I'll add a little bit extra just so we have enough for the molds.
Okay. There's a lot of precision.
Basically, whatever we're adding in one cup, it has to be the same in the other cup as well.
So you know, online when they show you resin art, on social media, they skip over this part.
Exactly.
But this is very tedious.
It is tedious, and you want to make sure that you're doing it exactly right. Like, they can't show all of these steps in like a 10-second video.
No, and they make it look so easy. Like, it's just like 1-2 things that you just have to mix and stir, and there you have it.
Right. So this is part B. This is the hardener.
Okay.
So this is what cures the resin into a hard surface.
Okay, and it's actually just labeled A and B.
It's labeled A and B, exactly.
Okay.
We're going to mix it in a third cup, and I like using these silicone cups because the resin is really easy to clean out of this.
Okay.
So we'll pour both. So why don't you pour this one into the cup and make sure you scrape the bottom as well.
Okay.
And you can use this spatula and just pour it all in there.
This is, again, just
This is silicone as well. So resin comes off silicone really easily. And then we'll just pour both at the same time, or you can also do one at a time, and then just make sure you scrape the bottom and the sides of the cups to make sure that you got every last piece of it.
Okay.
This is a precise step, so we do want to make sure we're taking our time and not rushing through this.
Okay.
That looks good. And then I'll finish with mine. And then the next step is also really important. We're going to be mixing this for at least 3 minutes.
Okay.
Just to make sure that part A and part B are mixed. And you see these swirls inside, right? We want to get rid of those swirls. So we're going to mix for 3 minutes at least until you see that all those swirls are gone.
Okay.
And yeah, I realized that you mentioned that online they make it seem so easy and it's like a quick 10-second video.
Yeah.
But it actually does require a lot of work and precision. And when I first got into it, there were like a lot of imperfections I had, and there were like bubbles and something didn't cure properly. So you kind of have to just learn, you have to work with it to learn the skill.
Yeah, you know, that was a really good experience for me with the nightstand. That there were some challenges along the way. We had some hiccups, you know, when we were cutting that, the trims, it was really difficult. But instead of that being something that I was discouraged from, I actually, like, my takeaway from that was really encouraging. Like, it's okay in the DIY process to be like, okay, that was really difficult, or this is actually kind of hard. And maybe the final project isn't exactly how you pictured it or envisioned it, or it's not perfect.
There's beauty in imperfections as well.
Yeah, of course.
And you made it with your own hands, so that's something to be proud of.
Exactly, and look at it. It looks amazing. Really nice. It looks so pretty. And it's just unique.
Exactly. So I think that's good. The mold we'll be using is this one. It's just like a 4 coaster mold.
Okay.
And we'll use 3 colors for this.
Okay.
So these colors are just mica pigments, mica powder that you can mix, that you can buy online. It's pretty inexpensive. And so let me just take a look. And then I'm just going to divide the resin into these 3 cups, and then we're going to be adding the colors into that.
So for this, you're just measuring because of how much will fit in here, right?
Yes. So this is just, you can just eye it, how much you think. You can always add more later.
Okay.
But it's better to have more, like already mixed with color, than less.
Okay. And you said this was mica. Is that like from the mineral?
Yeah, the mica powders.
Okay.
Okay, so here you can mix this one, the dark blue, and then I'll do the light blue. Just open that up, and then you can just pour as much or as little as you want.
Okay.
So I just do about that much, and then if it's too light, if you pour less powder, it will be translucent, the final product. And then if you put more, it'll be more opaque. And then so we can start mixing that in, and it makes a really pretty blue color. And there's like hundreds of options of colors that you can add, and other glitters. So it's really, you can personalize it to your style, to your home style.
So we're not following the minimalistic trend here, Nusrat.
Right. No neutrals today.
Yeah.
I feel like this is such a small thing to put in your house, like coasters. I feel like you can have fun with it. You don't have to be, everything doesn't need to be neutral or like a beige color. Even if your house is neutral, it's nice to have like accents or pops of color that makes your house seem interesting instead of just a beige box, you know?
Yeah, for sure. I think just also that following trends is such a tricky path to be on, right?
It is.
Because
you can never win. You can't ever keep up. It's too hard to follow.
And trends keep changing. One day it's one thing. The next it's like, we went from minimalistic to a maximalistic. How do you keep up with that?
It's impossible to honestly keep up with that. At this step, I'm just adding, this is gold leaf, so it's already crushed. I'm just going to add a little bit into it just so that we have a nice gold section.
Okay. When it comes to decorating your home, like what is your aesthetic? How did you find your aesthetic?
It took a while. There's just so much stuff online, just websites that have house trends and everything. But I realized I recently moved into a bigger space, alhamdulillah, so I had a lot of empty spaces. But I was like, I'm going to go slow. I'm not going to just as soon as I move in, start decorating, buying big pieces of furniture. I took it one room at a time. So I started with our living room, actually, because that's where we spend most of the time.
Yeah.
So let's start pouring. I'll do the dark blue on the outside, and then the light blue, and then we'll do the gold in the center.
Okay. You want me to pour?
Yeah, you can pour the light blue. Do you see how I'm going in a circle and just all the way across?
Yes.
And then we can add, and then so you're just going to pour a ring of the light blue across all 4 of the coasters. Just nice and slow, no rush. Take your time.
Okay.
And different resins have different working times, so that just means that once you mix part A and B, you have different amounts of time to work with it before it hardens and sets in the cup.
Okay.
So this one has about 30 to 60 minutes. We have enough time to pour and then kind of play around with it and see. And then I'll pour the dark blue on the outside. That looks good, yep. And then just pour the dark blue, and then maybe we'll keep on pouring the light blue as well. Okay. We'll finish the whole cup.
Oh, you want to finish?
Finish the whole cup, just so that we have a nice thick coaster instead of, otherwise they're too flimsy, I feel like, if they're thin.
Oh, okay.
So, and that looks good. And then I'll just pour a little bit more of the gold into the middle. And it's fine if you're going over the molds. Not anything, if the resin's on top of the molds, it won't stick, it'll just peel off.
Okay.
So that's looking good.
It's kind of like working with water paint.
It is.
Like how the colors blended together.
Yeah. So let's move these. And then the next step, so sometimes there's bubbles. Do you see the little bubbles that pop up?
Yes.
That's just because the resin is settling.
Okay.
So we'll use a heat gun or a hair dryer to pop those bubbles. And then the heat gun also moves the resin in a really cool way.
Okay.
Let me just grab this and I'll show you.
Would you say this is a crucial step?
This is. You do want to pop the bubbles because if the bubbles are still in the resin, it'll cure like little holes in the coaster.
Okay.
Do you see the lines are separated right now, right?
Yes.
So once I do that, it kind of blends it. You see that?
Yeah.
You see how it's swirling itself? Like it's
Yes.
making like an ombre effect, so the line is not super harsh. So that will dry nicely. So I think this one is done. This is going to take about 24 hours to cure fully hardened.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll move this out of the way and then we'll move on to the bookmarks.
Okay, great.
And those are really fun to do as well. So this is a mold specifically for bookmarks. As you can see, it has the little holes where you can add a tassel or something.
Awesome.
So our resin is still good. We'll divide it into the 5 little cups right here because I found that these little cups are good for like the size, the measurement of the resin we need for each bookmark.
Okay.
And then we can add whatever additives you want to add or whatever color that you want to make.
Okay, so we can definitely make these very fun.
Yeah. So we have some glitter, like star glitters, we have some dried flowers, and these are pretty inexpensive to get. Even from the dollar store you can get them. There's some little rocks that you can add. Some colorful gems. The kids love these ones.
That's really
nice. And also some like plastic flowers.
Very cute. So we can add anything into the resin?
Pretty much anything except paper. I feel like paper doesn't work as well.
Okay.
Because it just kind of gets wrinkled. So you need something that will harden with the resin.
Okay.
So I've also seen people, like, you know, their wedding flowers. I've seen people preserve that in resin as well. And then you have that for years to keep.
I was just going to say that it's a really good way of preserving something that's really special to you, like sentimental to you.
Exactly. And even if like you have like baby toys that are really sentimental, if it's like a plastic or a metal toy, you can also preserve that in like a block of resin. And I feel like that's a cute keepsake.
That is really cute.
One for each of your kids you can keep.
Yeah.
Okay, so the next step is we're just going to mix a little bit of additives into each one. So this one we'll do some colorful gems.
I like how you mentioned like the sentimental value of like really like making this like personalizing with resin, you know, because I think that goes against the whole concept of the trends we see online.
Right.
Because that just seems like everyone's just following the same trend. No one really like even knows whether they like that or if it matches their aesthetic or if it reflects who they are.
Right. And if you follow trends, every house you go into, they're going to have the same cookie cutter furniture, the same kind of like decor that's in like all these big box stores, instead of having personal items that you've created yourself.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's hard to keep up with trends, and I don't think we need to even be keeping up with trends.
Yeah.
Every house should be personal, and it should reflect what your style is.
And honestly, there's no hate to following a trend if that trend reflects who you are.
Exactly.
Right? But if that's something that's like, okay, where I'm going to have something in my house for, you know, a couple of months, and now we have a new trend, so now I have to discard all of these items.
Right. It's really wasteful.
It's wasteful, yeah.
The glitter is so nice. Even for like boys, they love this kind of like star glitter, and they can use these bookmarks for their Quran as well, and something like, you know, to make them more excited every day. And they can also personalize it any color they want.
I'm just thinking how I'm so excited, but like little me would have been so excited to see all of these things and be able to do something like this. So I just think going back to just, you know, getting your kids involved, doing this with your kids too would be such a fun activity.
Yeah, they can pick whatever they want. You can pour it, and then they love demolding it as well.
Yeah.
It's such a fun process. So let's pour the purple one in here.
Okay.
And then you can add the little dried flowers on top. So just go a little bit, make sure we go around the spot where we're going to put the tassel as well. And it kind of self-levels itself. As you can see, it's moving itself. And if not, you can use the popsicle stick that you started with just to get it around the corners. Perfect. That looks really good. You're getting the hang of it. It's pretty simple to use, right?
That's the thing with, it is. It is very simple to use, actually. Well, the first time I did it, I was a little nervous. Yeah. But I think that's the beauty in this, that you learn very quickly. Like with the DIY process, You do it once or
Right.
twice, and then you get a lot more confident.
Yeah, you get the hang of it.
Yeah.
And then you can add whichever color flowers you want. You can just like pick them up and then drop them.
Okay.
Or you can try to do it with a popsicle stick, however you want.
Maybe I'll try
Yeah.
doing it with my hands first.
Yeah, perfect. And then it'll just set as like that.
All right, so while Nusrat finishes up, why don't we go take a look at what the decorating process truly looks like inside a home.
Assalamualaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Did you recently decorate your house?
Yes, I did.
Can you walk us through your decorating process?
Of course, come on in. I think the first part of your decorating process is always looking at the layout of your space, seeing what kind of wall space you have, what kind of window space you have. And particularly in this room, I didn't want the natural light to be blocked in. So I bought a sofa that didn't have a really high back. That way we can have this airy feel to the whole house.
Yeah, it really complements the space.
Jazakallah.
So how do you approach choosing colors, textures, and materials that feel cohesive in a space?
Your colors are the most important. So you want to use very neutral colors as the base so that you can add your textures and your materials on top of that. As you can see in this room, I wanted the cabinets to be the focal point of the room. So I used a very dark color to emphasize that.
So now that all the elements of the room are complete, what was the most challenging part and how did you overcome it?
I think the most challenging part is figuring out your style and what you resonate with. So how you can overcome that is that you can incorporate different styles into your home, whether it's vintage, modern, or contemporary, and choose pieces that can work together cohesively.
Okay, that makes sense. I also see that you have a lot of Quranic verses and paintings all over your house. So what role does Islamic art play in how you approach your decorating?
I think that your house is a representation of yourself. Because Islam is such a big part of our lives, we wanted to showcase that into our house and including paintings and verses of the Quran around our house. Another part of my identity that I wanted to showcase in the house is travel. My husband and I traveled to Turkey and south of Spain where we loved the Islamic architecture that we wanted to showcase in our house as well.
It's so nice to see your personal touch in the house. Okay, so before I leave, how do you decide when a space finally feels complete?
I think that none of the spaces are ever complete. When you're designing a space, it's always changing and evolving with the different seasons of your life. So if you want to create a space, you can always add an element and take out an element, and you will feel like you will know when it's done.
Jazakallah for showing us your space. Allah Hafiz.
All right, so we're done with the bookmarks, Nusrat. So what do we do next?
So next I'll show you how you can personalize your coasters even more. So let's
Okay.
switch spots.
Okay.
This is a cutting machine, so I can cut different fabrics, vinyl, paper.
Okay.
And I'm just going to show you how we can cut some vinyl and stick it on top of our coasters to personalize it even more.
Oh, nice.
So you just connect it to your computer. So you just have to use a software that comes with the machine.
Okay.
And this is just a sticky mat. This is the vinyl we're using, a gold metallic vinyl.
All right.
And it just sticks to the sticky mat. And then we'll just put that inside of the machine like this.
Okay.
And then you just press the flashing arrow. The
Okay.
mat goes in. And then you press the little flashing button and then it starts cutting. And there are a lot of mistakes that, like, I've gone through a lot of vinyl where like it didn't work out, but you just keep going and you just learn. And different vinyls are different qualities. So depending on the quality you get, some are better. Like this one is easy to weed out.
Okay.
Just like that. And then this one says Bismillah. So I thought it was perfect for using on a coaster.
Very nice.
And then this is a weeding tool that comes with it. You just pick out the parts that we're not going to be using, and it just peels out like that.
And this vinyl, you can use like different colors, I'm assuming,
There's
right?
different colors, there's glitter,
Oh, okay.
there's different sheens. So you can really personalize it to anything that you would like, and then you just peel off the extra like that.
So I think this part also stays very true to the nature of DIY. You learn as you go.
Exactly.
Right?
Right.
It doesn't need to be perfect.
It doesn't need to be perfect. You'll make mistakes, which is
Yeah.
fine. You learn from your mistakes.
Take it slow. It's okay.
Like one time it took me 5 tries.
Oh no.
To get the vinyl right, and I was like, at that point I felt like just
Giving up.
stopping and giving up, but I kept going, and then we did get a nice product at the end. So if you want to continue that, and then you have another one. And if you don't have access to the machine,
Yeah.
you can also try your local libraries. A lot of them nowadays, you're able to go there and borrow them and also use them there.
Okay.
And even if you don't have that, you can also still purchase these stickers online. A lot of places sell these stickers on like Arabic sayings or like little prayers and hadiths. And even for the bookmarks, like Rabbi Zidni Ilma, I find is really nice to add on to that.
Yeah.
So while you work on that, I will pour the last coaster that we were going to do, and then we'll add the Bismillah to this one.
So do you ever feel like with the decorating process, especially with your new home, that it can be a little overwhelming for you?
I do. It does feel overwhelming, especially when you have like empty spaces or corners that are undecorated.
Yeah.
But I find that that's sometimes nice. I like a clutter-free house.
Okay.
So it's nice for your eye to rest on an empty spot. I feel like every little nook and cranny does not need to be crammed with decor or like the latest trending pieces. So it's nice for your eye to rest in those little pockets of like just white blank space. Yeah, I think, and just take it slow. I'm not the type of person who would just like buy everything new and just decorate my house. Like I'll go room by room. And then it also reminds me of that hadith where Allah loves beauty and beautiful things. Like Allah is beautiful and He loves beautiful things.
Yeah.
So I think just to kind of reflect on that and bring that into your house.
I think it's really important that you say that, because it's really important to have a space that you enjoy. And the effect that that has on us mentally is huge.
It's huge. Your home is like your safe spot. So you
Yeah.
want to make sure that it's like how you like it, just simple, uncluttered.
Yeah, for
Right?
sure.
Yeah.
It goes back to, I guess, cleanliness too, right?
Right,
Like
exactly.
having a safe space, what that does to us, like mentally, or even like praying. When you're
Right.
praying in a space that's cluttered
Yeah.
compared to a
It's
space
very
that's clean.
There's so much distractions,
yeah.
right?
You feel a lot more at peace praying in a clean space.
Exactly. Yeah.
So no, that's really nice. Those are good tips. Like start maybe in the rooms that you use the most.
Right. And start slow. There's no rush. I don't think there's like a finish line that you have to get this done by this time.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're done pouring.
Okay.
We're just going to let them cure in like a warm spot. And you just want to make sure it's like a dust-free spot, because if any dust particles get in there, they'll be set in the resin.
Okay.
So I've had that before where I put them in my garage and like a little like flea or something got inside, like a little fly. So, but you can sand that out. That's not a big problem. Yeah.
Okay, if it happens.
Yes,
you
if
have
it happens.
Dead insect
Yes.
inside.
Okay. So
We don't need this, right?
No, not right now. So we're just going to unmold the previously poured. So I poured some
This is
ahead
exciting.
of time, and this is a really fun part
Wow.
to just unmold the bookmarks. They're really fun to pull out of the mold. So you can try pulling that out.
This looks
Yeah.
so
And
beautiful.
then just these. And they dried pretty hard. And even if they're not super hard, like the flexible ones, the kids still enjoy playing with the bookmarks.
Yeah.
But for the coasters, like the thicker you pour the resin, they'll dry more durable. And they're pretty durable. Even if you drop them, they're like unbreakable usually.
Wow. Okay, so I did not expect them to like be this hard.
Yeah. So that's the important part of the mixing step. You want to make sure the hardener is like the same 1-to-1 ratio.
Okay.
That's what makes it cure really hard.
I thought it would be like a very like rubbery, like almost like a silicone
Right,
feel.
right.
But this
No.
is actually like
Yeah.
similar to like a
And then
glass
for
feel.
these ones, I like going over the edges with like a paint pen.
Okay.
If you grab, I think there's one more down there, the black one we had.
Oh wow, this.
So yeah, this one is completely done. So I went over the edges with like a gold paint pen, just to
Okay.
kind of finish it. And this is the one with the vinyl on it, which I just stuck on, and I just sprayed a lacquer on it.
Okay, this is beautiful.
So for this one, and you can do any paint pen, there's different colors. So maybe we can start going over this. And you can do that one.
You know, sometimes when you think of like crafts, you think it's like cheap.
Yeah.
You know, or it's going to like the finishing is going to be
Right.
cheap. But this looks very like it looks like you bought this. It does not
Yeah.
look like this was made.
And just the finishing does really matter. Like if you can leave them as it is, it still
Okay.
looks really nice.
Yeah.
Or you can paint the edges in any color that matches your home. Like if you have gold accents or silver accents, you can paint it to match it.
You mentioned when that flea got stuck in yours that you just sanded it down.
Yeah, you can.
So
yeah.
if there are rough like corners, can you do the same thing?
Yeah, you can sand them down, and I'll
Okay.
smooth the corners
Okay.
out. And then you can also, if it's sanded down and if you find it's still looking rough, you can still go over it with like a clear coat of resin. And then that will just seal it again and make the top extra smooth. And then once that's dry, I think you go over it with like just a spray, like a clear spray. You can just spray it outside in the garage.
Okay.
Just spray it and then let that sit, and then it'll be fully ready to use.
Awesome. I am almost done.
Okay, let me do.
Are you doing that with the bookmarks as well, or no?
So for the bookmarks, I usually leave them.
Okay.
I like the simple edges.
Yeah.
But we can add a tassel to it, just so it looks like an actual bookmark.
Awesome. You know, something that I've started doing in my home, and I wish I did this earlier because I didn't do this for all my travels, but my new thing is that wherever we go, instead of like buying something like a clothing piece or I buy something for the home.
Oh, that's a really nice idea. I should try doing that too.
Yeah, and that way, like, you know, a lot of like the artwork or whatever is in the home, it reflects like, you know, our
you've been,
yeah,
your
exactly,
travels.
our travels, our journey.
Right, and when you look at that piece, you probably remember the memories you had in that space,
Exactly.
in that country.
Yeah.
That's a really nice. That's a really nice tip.
It just makes the house feel a lot more homier.
Right, that looks good.
There
That's
you go.
really cute. I think your daughter would love that one.
That is really pretty.
Okay, so on this one, we'll apply the vinyl that we cut out.
Okay.
So if you just grab that, and this is just like a sticky transfer tape. So instead of like peeling off each piece and trying to put it straight on here, we're just going to apply this tape here. And then if you pass me that little tool right there, we're just going to kind of scrape this so it sticks to this transfer tape. Do you see that?
Oh, wow.
It peeled off like that.
That is so cool.
Yeah, yes, because otherwise you would be trying to apply each piece. And then we're just going to center it on here, just like that.
As I was peeling this, I was like, oh, I don't think I could transfer this onto an item.
So they have like a solution for everything.
Yeah, truly.
And then you just kind of press it down.
Okay.
And then you want to peel it at a 45-degree angle. And then just go slowly, just so you don't peel off any of the vinyl. And then this tape is reusable. I've used it for multiple projects. You can keep reusing it until it loses the stickiness.
Wait, this piece, like this square,
This square.
you reuse multiple times?
I've reused it, yeah.
Oh, wow.
As long as it's still sticky.
Oh, wow. Oh, yeah, it's like
pretty
very
strong,
sticky, yeah.
So it's specifically made for this. Just make sure you press the gold vinyl down.
Okay.
It's looking good. And then you have that. That looks
Awesome.
good. And then once you become an expert at pouring resin, you can move on to pieces like this. So this is another piece artwork that I made with resin. It's hard. Like I poured resin. This is a vinyl cutout that we just learned how to do.
Yeah.
And then these are also, you can also buy molds to pour like little crystals and rocks with the resin. So you can color that in, and this is just silver leaf, and then you pour like a clear coat on top, and then you have like a beautiful piece of artwork for your house.
That is incredible. So you can get different types of molds then?
Yes, exactly. All different kinds of molds you can get.
Wow.
And then these little gems and rocks.
This is truly beautiful.
And then if you don't have molds, you can also make molds with like a glue gun. Like you can just like line a plastic sheet with glue gun, any shape, and then pour the resin into that once the glue is dry and hardened.
Okay.
And that can work as a mold as well. So there's endless opportunities.
Yeah,
and
seriously.
endless
The hamster in my brain is just running right now.
Yeah, there's so much you can do with resin. So I think it's a good skill to have.
Yeah, this is amazing. Thank you, Nusrat.
No problem.
This has honestly been incredible. I'm very excited to like take this knowledge and take it into my home and do some of these things with my children. Jazakallah for all of this.
No problem.
Dear audience, this has been ReUSEful, a series where we show you how to reuse what you already have and turn it into something truly useful. Jazakallah for joining us today in learning how to make resin art. Make sure to follow us on our social medias at MTA Canada and share your creations with us. We look forward to seeing you next episode. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.